The coffee mug warmed my hands as I stood on the front porch, watching big snowflakes float down through the bare branches of the oak trees. Barnaby slept at my feet, his graying snout twitching with dreams, one ear flat against the worn wooden boards. It was 9 in the morning, and the silence of Oak Haven in winter was total, the kind of quiet that let you finally breathe easy. Then the engines shattered it all. 2 black SUVs and a huge U-Haul truck roared up the narrow road, their tires spitting slush and gravel. They slammed to a stop at my wrought iron gate, engines still running, exhaust fogging the freezing air. My heart jumped into my throat. I was already running before the first door opened. Dad Declan stepped out of the lead SUV, fixing his wool coat like he was showing up at a fancy club. "Fixie Club!" That winner's smile. The same look he'd had when he talked me into co-signing his business loan 6 years ago, the one I was still paying off. Then Felix hopped down from the truck's cab, already yelling orders at 3 guys in the back. "Careful with those server racks. Don't scratch the cases." He didn't even glance at me. Didn't act like I existed as he told them to start unloading gear right there on the curb, blocking the whole street. "What are you doing here?" My voice came out weaker than I wanted. Barnaby had woken up, pressing against my legs, a low whine building in his chest. Declan's smile got bigger. "Harper, honey, we're home, home." The word hit me like a punch. 2 years. 2 years of 80-hour weeks at the architectural preservation firm. Nosebleeds from being so tired, living on ramen and black coffee. 2 years. Saving every penny of that $300,000 bonus so I could buy this place. Blackwood Manor, and put it under the Oak Haven Heritage Trust to keep it hidden, to keep them from finding me. I'd been so careful. I'd changed my phone number, kept my address off every database, even used a P.O. box 4 towns away for mail. But I'd made one dumb, cocky mistake. 3 months ago, I'd posted a close-up photo of the Manor's rare rose window on an anonymous architecture forum. Just the window, no location tags, no clues. But the Oak Haven Historical Society spotted it, knew what it was, and shared it publicly on Facebook with the full address, raving about the restoration of this local gem. And my mom had Google alerts set for my name, my old addresses, architecture terms from my college papers, even the model of my car. She'd found me in hours. "How did you know I was here?" I managed, gripping the gate's iron bars. Declan pointed casually toward the trees across the street. "I parked right over there for 14 hours yesterday. Watched you walk the dog at 7:30, saw your Volvo in the driveway, saw you head to the grocery store and come back alone." He tilted his head, looking at me like I was some kind of experiment. "I know you're all alone in this big house, Harper. That's no way to live." The cold calculation in his voice made my skin crawl. This wasn't a surprise visit. This was scouting. This was a plan. "You need to leave," I said, trying to sound strong. "This is private property. You're not welcome here." Felix finally looked at me, his face a mix of pity and disgust. "Harper, don't be so dramatic. We're family." He waved at the server racks stacking up on my curb. "And I've got a business to run. The lease is already signed." "What lease?" Declan pulled a folded paper from his coat pocket, waving it like a peace flag. "Felix is renting your basement. Very fair terms, $1 a month for 5 years. You signed it last month, remember?" The world spun. "I never signed anything." "Your signature's right there, honey." I didn't open the gate. I didn't budge. Every gut feeling I'd built over 2 years screamed this was a trap. That letting them in even a little would end everything. Declan's smile faded. He pulled out his phone. 20 minutes later, a locksmith's van rolled up. A middle-aged guy in overalls got out, toolbox in hand, and Declan met him before he reached the gate. I watched through the bars as my dad changed, shoulders drooping, voice turning into a worried dad's whisper. He showed the locksmith his ID, pointed at our shared last name. "I'm her father," Declan said, loud enough for me. "I live here. My daughter's having a mental health crisis. She's locked herself in and won't let anyone help. We're worried sick." The locksmith glanced at me, then at Declan's kind, concerned face, at Felix standing nearby, looking worried too. "I understand, sir," the locksmith said softly. He walked to the gate, drill ready. "Miss, I'm going to need you to step back." "Don't you dare," I yelled. "This is my property." "He doesn't live here, he's lying." But the drill screamed, metal grinding metal. and the noise set off something deep in Barnaby. The old dog started barking deep, scared barks that hurt his throat. He'd come from a shelter found on a highway with cigarette burns on his back. Loud machines still sent him into a panic. Felix lost it. While the locksmith worked the gate, my brother walked along the fence to where the iron dipped lower, half hidden by overgrown bushes. He grabbed the top bar, pulled himself up and over with a grunt, and dropped into my yard. Barnaby charged, trying to protect me, but his arthritic hips shook. He paused for a second, fear fighting loyalty. It was all Felix needed. His boot swung up fast and hard, hitting the old dog right in the hip. Barnaby yelped, a high, painful sound I'd never heard, and scrambled away from Felix's grabbing hands. "Barnaby, no!" I screamed. But Felix had already reached the gate's inside latch. He twisted it, and the gate swung open. Barnaby, terrified and hurt, ran straight out onto the road. The busy, icy road where cars sped around the blind curve at 40 miles an hour. I didn't think. I ran. Behind me, I heard the SUV engines rev, heard the truck's lift whining, heard Felix laughing as he waved the trucks through. By the time I got to Barnaby, shaking in a snowbank with wild eyes, my family's vehicles were already through my gate and up my driveway. The takeover had started. I stumbled back through the gate 15 minutes later, Barnaby shaking in my arms. He was too heavy to carry far, but I couldn't set him down, couldn't risk him running again. His hip clicked with every breath, and I felt his tears soaking my coat. Declan blocked my front door, holding that lease like a shield. "I'm glad you're back, Harper. Let's talk about this like adults." He pointed toward the open door behind him where I heard heavy gear scraping my floors. "Felix is just setting up in the basement, quiet, professional. You won't even notice us." I pushed past him, Barnaby still tight to my chest. The oak door, my beautiful fixed-up oak door, stood wide open, letting in the cold. Snow melted on the original wood floors. "Get out," I said. "All of you. Get out of my house." Declan's face turned almost fatherly. "Harper, I know you're upset, but look at this." He smoothed the lease against the doorframe. "This is a legal deal. Felix rents the basement for $1 a month, 5 years. Your signature, your witness, all notarized proper." I finally set Barnaby down, my arms aching. The old dog limped to the corner and collapsed, whining. I looked at the lease. The signature looked like mine. The notary stamp was clear and official. The date was 6 weeks ago, a Tuesday when I'd been at a preservation conference in Boston. "This is fake," I said, flat out. "I was in Boston that day. I never signed this. That's not what the paper says." "I don't care what it says. It's forged, and you know it." Felix came up from the basement door, wiping dust from his hands onto his jeans. He held a voltage tester. "What are you doing down there?" I demanded. "Just checking the power load," Felix said, brushing me off. "Old houses have bad wiring. Got to make sure the circuits can handle the setups." I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. "Oak Haven Police," the dispatcher answered. "I need an officer at Blackwood Manor right now. Intruders broke into my home and hurt my dog. They're not leaving." Declan didn't blink. He just folded the lease into his pocket and smiled, waiting. For the police felt like forever, but it was only 30 minutes before Sheriff Brody's car crunched up the gravel drive. He was a tall man in his 50s, with the worn look of someone who'd handled small-town fights for decades. I met him at the door, still holding Barnaby's collar to keep him from following me out in his fear. "Thanks for coming, Sheriff. These people broke in." "Now, hold on." Brody raised a hand, his voice steady. He looked past me at Declan, who'd planted himself in the foyer like he owned it. "Sir, do you live here?" Declan pulled out the lease with a big gesture. "My son Felix rents the basement. This is a legal rental agreement, signed by the owner, my daughter, Harper Lawson." Brody took the paper, studied it close. The signature, the notary seal, the terms. "Miss Lawson, is this your signature?" "No, it's forged. I've never rented to anyone. This is my home. They have no right here." The sheriff's face changed, not unkind, but tired. "Ma'am, I get your anger, but this looks like a civil issue. Your brother has a lease that seems real. I'm not a handwriting expert or a judge. If the signature's fake, you'll have to prove it in court and do a formal eviction." "Eviction? Sheriff, they kicked my dog. They broke in with tools. Did anyone see the dog attack?" I opened my mouth, then shut it. I'd been on the road when Felix kicked Barnaby. The locksmith was busy with the gate. It was my word against his. I felt everything slipping. This wasn't about right and wrong. It was about rules, details, the line between civil and criminal. Declan smiled at the sheriff. "Officer, my daughter just needs time to get used to this. Family stuff is messy." I looked at Barnaby, limping and whining in the corner. At Felix, smirking from the basement door. At my dad, acting like the good guy. And I saw the law was being used to shield the ones hurting me. "Fine," I said quietly. "Sheriff, thanks for your time." Brody tipped his hat, glad to leave the family drama. "You all sort this out and keep it peaceful." As Brody headed out, I pulled out my phone. My contacts still had them. Mom, Dad, Felix. I scrolled past and found the number Sterling Vane gave me when he helped set up the Oak Haven Heritage Trust. I put Sterling on speaker so Declan could hear. My lawyer's voice filled the foyer, sharp and exact. "Mr. Lawson," Sterling said, polite but firm. "I'm sure you know Harper Lawson isn't the legal owner of Blackwood Manor. The property is in the Oak Haven Heritage Trust, a registered nonprofit. Harper is the trustee, not the owner." Declan froze. Sterling kept going. "That means the lease with Harper's signature is worthless, even if it's real. Harper can't rent property she doesn't own. Any rental needs trust approval and proper papers." I watched my dad's face go from confused to mad to scheming. "Plus," Sterling added, "if that signature is forged like Harper says, you've used fake papers to get into trust property. That's not civil, Mr. Lawson. That's criminal trespass on a nonprofit. A felony here." Felix's smirk vanished. "Dad, what's he talking about?" Declan raised a hand to shut him up. "This is a family mix-up." "I'm not mixed up," I said softly. "Sheriff Brody?" The sheriff had stopped on the porch. He turned back, his face getting serious as he took in the lawyer's words. "Trespass on a trust was a bigger deal." "Mr. Lawson," Brody said, stepping inside. "If you can't show a deal with the trust, I'll have to ask you to leave until a court checks this." Declan's act cracked. For a second, I saw the anger underneath. "You're making a mistake, Harper," he said low. "Family helps each other." "Tell your lawyer that," I replied. The heavy clouds made the day feel later as they loaded up their vehicles. They'd head to the motel in town. Felix paused at the door, giving me one last look. "Enjoy the dark, little sister?" I didn't get what he meant until I shut and locked the door. The house went quiet, but something was off. The fridge hum wasn't there. The hallway thermostat screen was blank. I ran to the basement. The main breaker box was open. Felix hadn't just checked the power. He'd cut the main wires to the furnace and kitchen circuits. He'd wrecked the heating system before the sheriff even showed up. I wrapped in blankets and sat on the floor by Barnaby, both of us shaking. Outside, it dropped to -3 degrees. Inside, I deleted Mom and Dad from my emergency contacts and saved Sterling Vane as a favorite. The fight was just starting. The house felt like a grave. I woke on day 2, bundled in 3 blankets on the living room couch, my breath fogging the cold air. Barnaby pressed against my legs, shivering under his old quilt. The old radiators were silent and cold, their fancy iron now useless. I'd called 4 electricians last night. 3 didn't pick up. The 4th heard about the damage and said he couldn't come till after New Year's a week away. Everyone was busy away or not willing to drive to Oak Haven in the snow for an emergency. So I sat in the cold and did what I could, documented it all. Photos of the breaker box, wires hanging like cut veins. Close-ups of Barnaby's hip, the bruise now deep purple under his fur. Screenshots of the property deed showing the trust as owner. The fake lease from every angle. I was uploading to a secure cloud when my phone rang. Unknown number? Miss Lawson? A woman's voice, professional and annoyed. "This is Patricia Newell from Oak Haven Electric. Calling about the account transfer request we got this morning." My fingers went numb. I didn't request a transfer. "Our records show a request at 8:47 a.m. to move the Blackwood Manor account from your name to Felix Lawson. The caller gave your social security number to verify." Cold fear hit me. That wasn't me. "That's identity fraud." A pause. "I see. Can you verify your social security number now?" I did and heard her typing speed up. "Okay, Miss Lawson. I'm marking this as fraud and undoing the transfer. File a police report right away." Whoever called had your personal info. After hanging up, I stared at my phone. Felix didn't have my social security number. I'd never given it to him, but Mom did. Mom co-signed my student loans. Mom had it memorized, written in her neat handwriting in the family files. And she'd given it to Felix to do utility fraud, to fake residency, to strengthen his claim on my home. I called Sterling Vane. Harper, he answered fast. I expected your call. I saw the social media posts. What posts? He sighed. Your mom has been posting on Facebook since last night. In her story, you kicked your elderly parents out in the cold, won't let your brother run his legit business, and you're having a breakdown. She's getting a lot of sympathy. I opened Facebook on my laptop. Mom's page was public, and she'd been active. Heartbroken tonight, her latest post said. My daughter locked us out of the family home in this freeze. We've tried to reach her, but she's not well. Please pray for Harper. Mental illness can make people turn on those who love them most. 300 likes, 87 comments. Mostly concern and support. I shut the laptop before reading them. Harper? Sterling pulled me back. You there? They're lying about everything. I know, that's why we'll hit them hard. His voice got sharp. The utility fraud gives us leverage. File a police report for identity theft now. Then a complaint with the FTC. This isn't just your house anymore. Felix committed a federal crime. Will it be enough? It's a start. But Harper, understand, your family is fighting dirty because they're desperate. Felix got evicted 6 months ago, owes over $8,000 in rent. Your parents' credit is shot. They're out of options and see your house as their last shot. So what do? Become a fortress, counter every move. Document every lie, and make them untouchable. He paused. Have you thought about going public? Public how? The Oak Haven Zoning Board meets online tomorrow morning. I'm filing an emergency complaint tonight. Felix wants to run crypto mining, an industrial setup in a historic residential area that breaks preservation rules. Something like hope stirred in me. They'll stop him? They'll ban him. And it'll be public record. Your mom wants sympathy? Let's show the town what Felix is really doing. After we hung up, I made calls. First to Oak Haven Police for the identity theft report. Then to the Federal Trade Commission for the fraud. Each form, each case number, felt like building a wall against them. I was heating soup on a camp stove. The only way to cook without power when my phone buzzed. A text from an old college friend in town. Harper, heads up. Saw your brother and dad at Clarkson's Hardware today. Buying bolt cutters and asking about gate locks. Look serious. You okay? My grip tightened. Bolt cutters. They were planning another break-in. But this time, no fake lease or emergency excuse. I forwarded the text to Sterling, then checked every lock and window in the dark, freezing house. Barnaby limped after me, whining, feeling my fear. It's okay, boy, I whispered, petting his gray head. We'll be okay. But I wasn't sure. Outside, wind howled through the bare trees. Snow fell again, thick and heavy, and my family was buying bolt cutters. The Oak Haven Zoning Board met online the next morning at 10. I sat in my cold living room, laptop on my knees, watching faces fill the screen. Sterling appeared in his box, suited up even from home. Agenda Item 7, the chair announced, a strict woman named Margaret Rhodes. Emergency preservation complaint for Blackwood Manor filed by Sterling Vane for the Oak Haven Heritage Trust. Sterling unmuted. Thanks, Madam Chair. Quick summary. We have info that Felix Lawson plans a commercial crypto mining operation in the basement of Blackwood Manor, a top historic site in a residential zone. This means heavy power use, heat, and constant noise, all against Section 12. 3 of the Preservation Code. One board member leaned in. Has Mr. Lawson applied for business permits? No, he tried using fake lease papers and ignored zoning rules. Margaret's face hardened. Does Mr. Lawson want to speak? Silence. Felix and Declan weren't there, probably didn't know about the meeting. Okay, the board issues an emergency stop order now. Any try by Felix Lawson to run a business from Blackwood Manor means $1,000 daily fines and possible criminal charges for zoning breaks. She looked at the camera. Mr. Vane, send this to the police for enforcement. Thanks, Madam Chair. The meeting went on, but I tuned out. My wall just got taller. By evening, Felix knew. I found out when my phone blew up with alerts, all from private messages from Tiffany. His girlfriend helping from behind the scenes, posting on her Instagram. Felix, the town blacklisted me. My sister ruined everything. Felix, we can't stay at the motel. My card declined. No money left. Felix, this is your fault. You went crazy with the lawyers. I screenshotted everything and sent to Sterling. Then I went on the attack for the first time. There was a local blogger in Oak Haven, Linda Mercer, a retired reporter running a community news site. She covered town meetings to business fights, known for being fair and detailed. I emailed her. Miss Mercer, I'm Harper Lawson, trustee of the Oak Haven Heritage Trust owning Blackwood Manor. I want to alert you to a situation for your readers. I attached the zoning decision, Felix's public eviction records, and my police report for identity theft. My family tried taking a historic property with fakes and fraud. The zoning board stopped them, but the town should know. Linda replied in 2 hours, Harper, I'd like to talk on record. Available tomorrow, but tomorrow was too slow. That night, bundled with Barnaby against my side, I heard a car pull up. One vehicle, slow, no lights. I peeked through the curtains, Declan's SUV, idling at the driveway end, watching the house. After 10 minutes, it left. They were scouting again, planning. I called Chase, the archaeologist from the Historical Society helping with the Manor's garden fix-up. We'd worked on projects for a year. He was quiet, good at his job, trustworthy. Chase, I need a favor. Might sound weird. Try me. His voice was steady, not bothered by the late call. I explained enough. The family, fake lease, threats. I think they'll break in soon. Need the gate to hold. I'll be there in 20. He arrived with tools and stuff. We strengthened the gate, quietly adding hidden braces, a tough padlock hard to drill. Nothing obvious from the street. Harper, he said as we worked, breath fogging. You don't have to do this alone, you know. I looked at him, steady hands, careful work, dropping everything to help without questions. Thanks. I mean it. If you need anything. Actually, I cut in. An idea forming. New Year's Eve? You free? By next morning, Linda's article was up. Historic property fight turns nasty. Family accused of fraud, zoning breaks. It was fair she even tried contacting Declan, who said no, but facts were clear. Felix's evictions, fake lease, zoning ruling. Comments filled fast. Town sympathy for my homeless family faded as truth hit. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. You'll regret this. We're family. You don't destroy family. I forwarded to Sterling and Sheriff Brody, then made quiet calls to the mayor, Historical Society head, key town influencers. I'm having a small New Year's Eve party, I told each. Nothing big, just friends. Honored if you join. All said yes. I gave instructions, park in back, use garden gate, keep quiet. The front had to look empty. Chase helped set up inside. Piano player, small food setup, champagne for 30. New Year's Eve morning, Tiffany posted a final video. Outside the Motel 6, Felix loading bags and back. This is it, guys, she said, voice shaky. We're homeless. Felix's evil sister destroyed us, but we're not quitting. Tonight, we take back what's ours. Justice coming. I watched 3 times, then called Sheriff Brody. Sheriff, I think my family will break in tonight. Video proof of threats. Witness saw bolt cutters. Requesting police. Long pause. Miss Lawson, I'll be at your party as a guest. But I'll have my badge. If anything happens, we'll handle it. Thanks, Sheriff. The trap was ready. New Year's Eve came with sharp cold. I'd fixed the heat, $4,000 to repair Felix's damage, and Blackwood Manor was warm again. I kept front curtains tight. No light leaked. Outside, it looked empty. Guests came afternoon through back. Mayor and wife, Historical Society head, Sheriff Brody in suit with badge. Architects, donors. Chase set up the main room. Warm lights, string quartet, fancy snacks. Like an old-time party, surreal with what was coming. Sure about this? Chase asked, handing me champagne I wouldn't drink. Yes, they need real consequences. Can't explain away as civil. At 11:30, I watched from a curtain gap. Guests mingled, unaware. Quartet played soft. Glasses clinked. Then I saw them. 2 cars, no lights, creeping up. Parked across street in trees. 3 figures. Declan, Felix, Tiffany phone up, recording. They're here, I whispered. Chase came close. Brody drifted over, hand near badge. Mayor noticed, joined. Harper, what's going on? Watch. Felix led, bolt cutters shining. Tiffany streamed. 11:45 New Year's Eve. Reclaiming justice. Felix's sister illegally kept him out, but ends tonight. Watch. Guys. This is standing up. They hit the gate. Felix cut the lock, sharp crack echoing. Kicked it open, clanging. Strode up path. Harper, I know you're there. This is my house now. Can't hide. Reached door, kicked once, twice. Third time, lock broke. Door crashed in. Felix stormed entry, bolt cutters gripped, face red with wind. Harper, nowhere to... He stopped. Golden light from main room. 30 top-town folks with champagne, staring. Silence. Guests lowered glasses, stepped back. Quartet stopped. Felix panted, bolt cutters looking wrong in elegance. Stared at mayor, society head, donors. Brody hand on badge. Tiffany's phone kept streaming to 18,000 followers. Felix Lawson, Brody said, setting glass down, stepping up calm. You're under arrest. This isn't... I have a lease. You have fakes. Zoning stop order. Now breaking and entering with tools in front of witnesses. Brody pulled cuffs. Not civil anymore. Declan tried. Officer, family mix-up. Mr. Lawson, Brody cut in. Warrants for you too. Forgery, conspiracy, fraud, identity theft. Step here. From the stairs, I looked down. Felix's eyes met mine, desperate. Harper, please, family. Mr. Lawson, I said, quiet. Voice carrying. Talk to my lawyer. 2 more cop cars arrived, lights flashing. Officers entered. Felix cuffed first. Breaking, entering. Trespass, burglary tools, animal cruelty. Identity theft. Declan next. Forgery. Conspiracy, fraud. Tiffany in doorway, phone still on, face pale at comments. Looked at Felix, cuffs, crowd. I didn't know. You said legal. Tiffany, don't. Felix started. We're done. She backed out, ran still streaming. Brody took them out, reading rights in cold. I watched from door as loaded into cars. Felix glanced back, face blank. Cars left, tires on ice. Mayor cleared throat. Harper, sorry you went through this. I turned to crowd, concerned faces, whispers. Thanks for being here. Not the party you expected. On the contrary, society head said, raising glass. We saw justice. To Harper and Blackwood Manor. Others joined. To Harper. Chase at my side, hand gentle on shoulder. You okay? Looked at broken door, melting snow, dropped cutters. Then at chosen guests. Yes, okay. Midnight hit. Fireworks bloomed, distant. The siege ended. 5 months later. Spring hit Oak Haven. Blackwood Manor's gardens burst with tulips. Daffodils through soft earth, dogwoods blooming white against blue sky. I sat in garden with tea. Laptop on iron table, checking carriage house fix-up plans. Work felt like love, now not survival. Barnaby lay in sun by my feet, snout on Chase's boots. Hip healed good, though limped cold mornings. Fear gone, no flinching at men, no panic at noise. Faded over winter. Now slept peaceful as Chase brushed dirt from pottery shard by old wall. Looks like Wedgwood, he said, holding to light. 1880s pattern, your Victorian folks had taste. They buried trash in flower beds, I noted. He grinned. Archaeologists call it history boost. I smiled, watching him. Over winter, as legal stuff wrapped, Chase became constant, not pushy. Just there. Fixed door, brought coffee for meetings, watched Barnaby. Colleague to friend to something unlabeled, made me feel safe. Not trapped. Gate plaque gleamed, property of Oak Haven Heritage Trust, by invitation only. Installed February, after trials. Felix pleaded guilty, 18 months minimum security, payback, probation. Declan fought forgery but lost 2 years. Mom not charged, claimed no knowledge, just helping son. Prosecutors couldn't prove. But she stopped calling, posting about ungrateful daughter. Silence said enough. I blocked her. Some ties not worth keeping. Harper? Chase pulled me back, watching careful. Okay, yeah. Closed laptop. Thinking how different now. Good different? Looked at blooming garden, sleeping Barnaby solid manor, Chase with dirty nails and shards, looking protective. Very good. He smiled, hand in mine, fingers linked. Went back to work. Car past, tourist maybe. From new historical society tour featuring Manor as success, I didn't tense at engines anymore. Gate locked. Alarm set. Learned isolated versus protected. Built boundaries without sorry. Family not blood, but who shows up respects no, cheers wins without taking. Barnaby twitched in sleep. Good dreams now. Chase hummed old song, comforting. Sun warmed shoulders. First time in years, maybe ever, I felt real peace. Not fragile, appeasing peace. Not hiding, anxious peace. True peace from fighting and winning. From choosing gate crossers. From knowing self-protection necessary, not selfish. Squeezed Chase's hand. He squeezed back, eyes smiling, focused on work. Behind, Blackwood Manor stood strong, windows shining spring light. No longer siege fortress, a home. My home. Gate sheltered happiness inside.